This floating landmark attracts VIPs and celebrities from all across the world.
You're going to get an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the Queen Mary.
Living large Hollywood, the Queen Mary. Set sail now. This rich in history Southern California landmark is actually on water. It's still a floating party palace and a one-of-a-kind getaway. Welcome to Living Large Hollywood, the Queen Mary, home to royalty of all kinds. You'll be transported back in time and see this ship as only a VIP can. Passengers include the man who would be the King of England, the Duke of Windsor and his wife, heads of state like Winston Churchill, and even Ronald Reagan, and of course, old Hollywood.
People like Cary Grant, Elizabeth Taylor, Bing Crosby, Fred Astaire, they all sailed in the Queen Mary.
The Queen Mary also attracts New Hollywood.
Of course, some of the very famous people continue to come to the Queen Mary these days. We had American Idol in here not too long ago, where some of the tryouts were done, and Randy Jackson and Nicki Minaj and Mariah Carey was here. Even old Dr. House, Hugh Laurie, filmed a blues routine in here just last year. So she's truly still a ship of the stars.
Construction on the massive ship began more than 80 years ago in Scotland. If this ship were to stand vertically, it would be taller than the Empire State Building, the Washington Monument, and the Eiffel Tower. This luxury cruise liner weighs more than 81 tons. It is 18 floors high. It has 12 decks. And the Queen Mary now has 346 hotel suites with 2,000 portholes. This really is living large. Does this look like a movie set? It should, because you've seen this luxurious cruise ship in some of your favorite movies and TV shows. That includes He's Just Not That Into You, TV's Arrested Development, and even the cult favorite, The X-Files.
It was the inspiration in the set that was actually turned upside down at the Poseidon Adventure. Also, things like Angela Lansbury with Murder, She Wrote. More recently, The Aviator with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Now, don't forget, every bill comes to me. They don't pay for anything. Look, those men decide whether or not to fund the plane, so I need them real happy.
The Queen Mary continues to be a Hollywood set all over the ship. We're standing in the Queen Salon of the Queen Mary today, and it happens to be my favorite room in the entire ship. When the Queen Mary crisscrossed the North Atlantic in the glory days, this room was the first-class main lounge. It was a social gathering place for passengers to enjoy music, games, cabaret in the evening. It is still a famous room to be enjoyed because the Queen Mary does precisely today what it was designed to do originally, and that's to be lived in. Only instead of traveling across the sea, we do it floating here in Long Beach. This room is used for all sorts of galas, wedding receptions, and the like.
The Queen's Salon for a smaller party is $14,000 for the room and food. Cocktails are extra.
The Grand Salon is the largest room in the Queen Mary, and it is home to our famous signature award-winning champagne Sunday brunch. This was the original first-class dining room when the Queen Mary was at sea, and one of the largest and most beautiful pieces of art is right here in this room. The Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth were built for the first and only two ships weekly service across the North Atlantic Ocean. And as you can see in this beautiful map, there are two tracks across the map, and crystal ships on each track. One is the Queen Mary, the other is the Queen Elizabeth. You could come into this room at any time and tell where you were in the approximate North Atlantic. It has many beautiful motifs. There are carvings around the clear story of the room that represent the history of shipbuilding. There are bird paintings on each side of the room that further underscore the friendship and relationship between England and America. Birds of the Old World and birds of the New World. And just here, there is a beautiful tapestry-style mural done in oil by Philip Conard. It represents the English country life. Captain's Table 199 is here. In those days, it was unsurpassed first-class service in this. This room is still famous for the A-listers that come and join us for our Sunday brunch and other occasions.
To party in style on the Queen Mary, the Grand Salon will set you back about $25,000 a night for the room and some food. Again, cocktails are extra. But like all good Hollywood stories, even the Queen Mary has a plot twist of its own. During World War II, this luxury liner became a battleship.
The former luxury liner Queen Mary steams into Sydney Harbor loaded with troops.
And the Queen Mary played a significant part in World War II. Although she was built for the arts of peace, she would become the backbone of men and materials to the European theater. During the Second World War, the Queen Mary was known as the Gray Ghost. She was painted all battleship gray to help camouflage her against the attack of submarines. That name was actually given to her by the waterfront workers in New York because she would come in one day, offload her troops, load 15,000 men for the European battlefront, and disappear on the next morning's tide in the fog. Of course, the Queen Mary's greatest defense in World War II was her speed at 28.5 knots, but she did carry armament. She had over 70 anti-aircraft guns on board and a 4-pounder at the stern to take shots at submarines. And today we have an example of the anti-aircraft guns of the type used in those days so that people can be reminded of the Queen Mary's very important role in World War II.
During World War II, the Queen Mary, or Gray Ghost, transported an average of 15,000 men per voyage. That meant a total of 810,000 soldiers. This ship also holds a world record for the largest number of passengers on a wartime transportation vehicle, 16,683 men. That occurred in July of 1943.
By the war's end, Prime Minister Winston Churchill would say of the great ship that she had shortened the war by up to a year, and went on to say that the Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth together challenged the furies of Hitlerism. And without their contribution, final day of victory in Europe would have been postponed indefinitely.
At one point, Adolf Hitler offered a bounty to any German U-boat commander who could sink the ship. But because this ship still floats, the lifeboats still work.
There's no need to be afraid of being upon a ship at the Queen Mary. We have 22 boats, so if we need to get you off, we could get you off in a hurry. But don't worry, we don't have far to go.
When we come back, the sweet life, how Hollywood A-listers take a step back in time in this first-class getaway.
Sir Winston's aboard the Queen Mary. Come eat with the rich and famous and enjoy the gustatory delights of a truly old-school meal.
And later, a cocktail lounge that sets the bar high, even by Hollywood standards.
There's only 400 bottles ever made.
Welcome back to Living Large Hollywood, the Queen Mary. This VIP tour means you're seeing secrets of a true legend, called everything from a royal ship, to a war hero, to a movie star. This ship is now a floating hotel with 346 suites, which is like staying in a museum. Now, celebrities and anyone who wants to live like one can stay here. A rare chance to live like royalty and step back in time, with details steeped in style and history.
This is M107, the Queen Mary Suite, and to my mind, it's the most beautiful suite in the Queen Mary. Many of the world's most famous people stayed in this suite in those days, and the people staying in the most luxurious suites were usually invited down to dine with the captain. This room is still available today. Many of the Hollywood elite come down and stay with us from time to time. We've had Hugh Laurie stay with us. Britney Spears has stayed with us. Mariah Carey, as well as others. You never know who you're going to run into aboard the Queen Mary. And this is the parlor of the Queen Mary suite. We've saved a lot of the original fittings in all of our cabins and suites in the Queen Mary, and in particular these high-velocity fans that were used in the ship's heyday because she wasn't air-conditioned. The splendid woods in this particular cabin, we have English elm on this bulkhead, and over here we have a very unusual veneer called English arbel. The beautiful artistry and cabinetry in the Queen Mary, such as this armoire, all done in English brown oak, and you can see the beautiful fluted edges. It's hard to find something like that in any hotel in the world today, and these cabins are even comfortable by today's standards. You have to pull out sofas and beds and marble top tables, and it's very, very, very inviting. And of course, our suites, like the Queen Mary suite, are simply colossal in size. These doors actually fold back into the bulkheads to open up this suite into the King George suite. It gives you a really large parlor, complete with 2 master bedrooms, 2 single bedrooms, and 4 baths. And of course, I'd be opening it up for you today, except for we have some very A-list guests on the other side of this bulkhead. Keeping in with all of today's traditions, the Queen Mary is still a very comfortable place to stay. She might be nearly 80 years old, but we have the finest bedding for you to sleep on, and the cabins are actually quite large compared to today's ships. And of course, you even have flat-screen TVs and Wi-Fi. The Queen Mary affords beautiful sea views from all areas of the ship, but in this particular parlor, you can look out the portholes across Long Beach Harbor and look at Long Beach's beautiful skyline, which is so inviting and inspiring in the morning and so beautiful in the last rays of the day.
Expect to spend $1,000 or more a night to stay in these museum-like rooms. And when you leave your suite, you don't have to go far to do what most tourists do: shop.
We're standing in the main hall of the Queen Mary, which is doing today what it was designed to do years ago, and that's to be a place for retail therapy for first-class passengers, as well as a gathering place. It's very nicely and softly lit, as you'll notice. There's a soffit that circumnavigates the room. It used to hold about 500 light bulbs, and we try to operate the ship very eco-minded, so it holds about 1/3 of that number today. And also, if you'll notice in the center of the room, there is a beautiful light fixture that weighs just over 400 pounds.
The Commodore also gave us a very special tour of some private rooms not open to the public, but we used our VIP pass. That includes this timeless travel bureau.
And of course, the Queen Mary also had a travel bureau when she was at sea, because when you got to one side of the Atlantic or the other, you might need airfare or rail passage, or to book a Cunard cruise.
Then there's a music room.
The Queen Mary also catered to very high A-list celebrities, including Cole Porter, Liberace, so she was fitted with a music room. One of the coolest things about this room, though, just up in the clear story here, you'll see a C flat etched into the glass. And of course, that is what the Cunard line always wanted their ship to sail upon, was a flat C.
Then there's the captain's cabin, which you can't even rent.
And welcome to the captain's cabin. This is a very hallowed chamber here in the Queen Mary, and one of the last dignitaries to visit this room was Margaret Thatcher in the 1990s. Winston Churchill used to come here quite often when he sailed. Also, very important diplomats would have been entertained in the Queen Mary, and royalty, like Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, for instance. And Sir Winston Churchill used to use this chair right here. To be captain of the Queen Mary was one of England's highest positions. The Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth were the flagships of the British Merchant Navy. The captain of a great ship like the Queen Mary is never off duty. Many times in mid-Atlantic, the radio room in the Queen Mary would get a call from another ship that didn't have a physician on board. And so the captain would be called to the bridge to make that decision and plot that course to intercept a ship in need of a surgeon or a doctor. It's all in the life of a seaman. This is the principal place for cocktails in the Queen Mary, the observation bar. And it hosts and boasts panoramic views of the city skylines of Long Beach, as well as the sea. It is one of the most hip places in Long Beach to have a wonderful event. And the observation bar is one of the most splendid examples of Art Deco in the entire ship.
It's the attention to detail that makes it so rare.
And as you can see, the lighting fixtures, the balustrade, everything is original. The front of the bar is depicting a beer barrel and is clad in ebony wood. It also boasts one of the rarest woods used in the entire ship. It's called cedar maw. It only occurs naturally every 150 years or so when cedar and mahogany trees cross-pollinate.
We showed you a bit earlier, but this one-of-a-kind setting was perfect for Leonardo DiCaprio and John C. Reilly in the movie based on Howard Hughes' life, The Aviator.
I mean, you have to admit, now honestly, did you ever think you'd actually finish the damn thing?
Come with me.
When we come back, ways to relax.
There is no other spa on a ship floating in a harbor that is anything like this place.
And the star treatment with a Hollywood price tag, good to the last drop.
It is $170 for a 1-ounce pour.
Welcome back. This is Living Large Hollywood, the Queen Mary. A VIP tour fit for Hollywood royalty. This land-loving luxe liner is bigger than a city block. You've seen the suites, the party rooms, and the decks. This is a ship with a history of its own. But when Hollywood stars want to be wined and dined, they visit here.
Now we're about to enter one of Long Beach's best-kept secrets, Sir Winston's, our signature restaurant here in the Queen Mary. Sir Winston's is actually named after the Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, and many of the dishes that he loved and enjoyed are served here. Today, it is a place to enjoy an exquisite meal and have phenomenal views of the sea and the city of Long Beach. It's just a wonderful place to relax and enjoy yourself.
We've had football players as far as Joe Montana's been here. We've got movie stars, politicians. Bruce Willis has been here, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. Sir Winston's is one of the top restaurants in Southern California. We've got an excellent menu, things like Chateaubriand, beef Wellington. We try to make each and every guest have their best dining experience possible. Me being the manager, maitre d', I'm the first one that will greet you at the door, and I'll be the last one to see you when you leave. We have an exclusive wine list. We deal directly with the wineries, and they're only sold to Sir Winston's. We also have something right here called the Last Drop, which is a cognac. It was a winery that was lost in Cognac, France, and they discovered this barrel of cognac, which had been aged for at least a century. And we were lucky enough to get one of the bottles. There was only 388 ever made, so once this last drop is gone, it's gone forever. It is $170 for a 1-ounce pour. We also have a very exclusive Macallan collection as well. We've got the flask, Macallan 22. There was only 400 of those bottles ever made. We're lucky enough to have one of the 400. After that is gone, that can never be found again. It's $55 for a 1-ounce pour. And I want them to come in the door happy, I want them to leave happy. And whatever that takes as far as service, food, something special they want cooked a certain way, we'll take care of them.
Nestled into the splendid accommodations of the Queen Mary, we have a world-class spa, so in keeping with the traditions of cruising today and the world's finest hotels also, you can feel as pampered as you like here on board the Queen Mary.
Well, a little bit about the Queen Mary Spa is it's been open for 12 years, but we've tried to keep it as historical and accurate as we can while still using it as a spa in the normal everyday situation. When you first come into the spa, you just get greeted. It's very, very relaxing, quiet. It always smells good. You're transported into this historic little bubble. You know, you go from a massage to manicure, pedicure, and then smoothly transition into your facial. Then you can go sit in a nice, warm, relaxing bathtub. So let's say you and your friends just want a relaxing retreat with no one else around. You guys can actually rent out the whole spa just for you guys, and we'll pamper you, champagne, whatever you want done, however you want your day to be, that's how it can be. It can be your spa for the day.
To receive the royal treatments in this spa, expect to pay thousands for a private party. The king or queen for a day is more than $100 an hour. Even when it comes to guests trying to shape up for the next movie or TV role, it's all hands on deck in this classic gym with yet another historical twist.
Even in the 1930s, it was very important to keep fit while crossing the North Atlantic in the Queen Mary, as you can see by our original gymnasium equipment. We have the mechanical horse here and the famous vibrating belt over there. But even nowadays, especially, we're much more health conscious than ever before, and the Queen Mary, keeping with today's traditions, has a very modern fitness center with all the latest treadmills and mechanical bicycles and weightlifting, and it's also done in a fashion that the original gymnasium was done in. And so from the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California, I bid you bon voyage.
This is Living Large Hollywood, the Queen Mary. Thank you for joining us on our VIP tour. I'm Ron Pitts, and happy sailing.